You get to a point sometimes where you can overbuild things and then you don't want to use them because you're scared to use them. And it's gotten too far gone that it's like, I don't think I can ever do this again, so I can't f this up.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Modify with TrickFactory Customs. If it's your first time watching, this is TrickFactory Customs. We're a custom automotive shop based here in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And my name is Elvis.
I'm Adam.
Tim?
Jose.
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
Jose's
Like
back.
the names. Oh my god.
Rob, I'm just
nice. Yeah. And yeah, so on this episode, this is actually the second time we're recording this podcast.
That's the first time.
The first time it did not go very well. So, and there was some problem with the video, with the footage. It was not. It was terrible. Yeah, it's my fault. And so, this is Adam. I'm sure you guys will. You guys probably not seen him on the podcast before. But
They would have last week.
yeah, they would have, but they didn't see it. So yeah, sorry if we missed an episode or a week because this happened. But I think it's gonna be cool because we brought you on because you have a really cool story about driving cars, which I like, just driving cars in general. That a lot of people put some cars on a pedestal, and so, for example, we have a Miura there. You don't have a Miura, but
No, I wish. I wish.
A Lamborghini Miura, no. But you have a car that a lot of people believe to be one of the best driver's cars made, even though it's been out for like almost 30 years now. Actually, more than 30 years.
More.
Yeah, it is without what is it?
I have an E30 M3.
Yeah. And if you know anything about the E30 M3, it's not a stock E30 M3. We're going to dive into that later. But if you know anything about the E30 M3, the values of those things have been skyrocketing. We were just checking Bring a Trailer values like today. And
They've definitely gone up a little bit since I purchased it.
Quite a bit. It's mind-blowing. And so, but there's something really cool about you, which is that you pretty much daily
Don't
drive.
give a fuck.
Exactly.
And I drive it.
And so we're going to talk about what it actually means to, or why you should drive your car, because there's a lot of collectors and yeah, there's different strokes for different folks, but I feel like cars were made to drive. And so we're going to talk about actually driving cars, even though we have some cars that have not been driven in years since we built them.
That's a different story.
Yeah, that's a different story.
We're busy building cars.
Yeah. And so we're going to be talking about that. And then if we have enough time, we're also going to be talking about the car community and the toxicity in the car community. Yeah. Or lack
And the
thereof.
hypocrisy.
Yeah.
We can touch on that.
Yeah. Yes. And because we've published some episodes these past few weeks that have gotten literally, this past post got over 4,500 comments on Instagram.
The Honda community is very passionate.
Over 500,000 views now. It's probably gonna go up every day. But I'm on the toilet and I keep seeing like random message and like 30,000 likes. It's crazy. It's gone ballistic. And so we're probably gonna dive into that a little bit and what actually is toxicity in the car community. Because some people have called us toxic.
This guy here doesn't like Hondas.
No, I love Hondas. What are you talking about? Hondas are great. I've had all the Hondas.
Yeah, so we're going to dive into all of that. But before we get started, what's been going on this week for you guys? Or last week, I guess, yeah. So
Last week,
this week, the past week since we met. Because we had Ash Thorpe on in the previous episode.
right.
Which was amazing. I am so excited. I think by the time this episode airs, yeah, it would have also aired.
Yes.
So if you haven't listened to it, listen to it. He's the guy that designed the Batmobile, and he's designed a bunch of Hoonigans cars. Worked in McLaren, has a crazy story, and it was so much fun. So what did you guys think?
Yeah, it was awesome, that podcast.
Yeah, it was
Pretty
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, we were pretty.
It's a very
honored that-
unique outlook on the car scene, so it's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a very talented designer, a visionary, very well spoken, very solid individual. I think he brings a lot to the table for the community, and I think everybody should look up to him. He's a good dude, and just man, guy's an incredible artist.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Yeah. So check it out if you have the opportunity to. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So what has been happening all week for you guys?
Well, during the first time we did this one, we sent a whole bunch of cars home.
Yes.
And now that we're redoing it,
What all have we sent home? Just more detail.
we sent the 32 Ford home, the 67 Chevelle, the Ferrari Testarossa, the Supra's done, so it's just waiting to be picked up. What else did we do? There's
The
something
Bentley's
else.
gone.
Bentley's gone.
The Ferrari.
Ferrari,
said
yeah,
that.
the
Yeah.
Ferrari.
Yeah, there've been a lot of car stuff left.
Yeah, so that stuff's all finished and gone. And then now this week, I've basically just been preparing myself for our big G-Wagon projects. So we got a lot of stuff done for that. And I'm just in that till the end. So
Yes.
Yeah, big G-Volt things happen.
I was gonna say, for those that do not know, what's happening with the G-Wagon project? What are they?
well, we're doing an EV swap on a G-Wagon Cabriolet, which is already a very rare and expensive vehicle. So, but in the interim, the owner of that has a few other G-Wagons. So we're doing all these powertrain swaps, and a couple of those projects have evolved into much bigger projects. So we're actually building a G-Wagon pickup truck,
Sick.
which is really, really cool.
That's the one that's getting the diesel motor.
Nope, that's the one that's getting the motor out of the Cabriolet.
Oh, okay.
So essentially, we're modernizing a G truck from the military, but turning it into like a civilian version G pickup truck with all the parts coming out of the Cabriolet, and then the Cabriolet is getting new everything. So
Yeah.
Nice.
so it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. And then we got a couple other Gs in the background. That one's getting an OM 606, and the other one's currently out in another shop because we didn't have time getting portals put on. And then we're doing a bunch of rock sliders and crazy stuff to that one too. So that'll be pretty cool.
So are any of those cars going to be SEMA cars or no?
The G Volt's going to SEMA.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh,
gonna be some late nights.
Yeah.
The crunch is coming.
Nice.
The crunch is
Yeah, I
coming.
know. We have less than 90 days.
There's been a lot of stuff coming together for that one.
Oh, shoot.
so-
I just realized it. I'm like,
You never
August,
count down the days.
September, October, November. That's like 3 months.
Yeah,
It's almost there.
it's gonna be rough, but we can do it.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, wow. So yeah, it's been really busy in the shop lately. We, like you said, we got rid of a lot of things, opened up a lot more floor space, and allowed us to sort of keep moving forward with shop upgrades and get back into
Our
you know,
big
the
projects.
big projects that are always there. Myself, I just been kind of picking off a couple of little things, just sort of helping out wherever I can, and yeah, we did a couple of Cayenne.
Oh,
rally,
the Cayenne. We got the other
I forgot
Cayenne
about
rally
that.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've done a couple of lift kits in Cayennes, and we even actually went so far as to develop our own lift kit and bespoke wheel, like factory wheel spacer
Spacers,
package
that's
for that.
pretty cool.
So if anybody's looking to do that on theirs, hit us up because we got some really nice parts. You'll probably want to take a look at those.
So we're prepping what? The whole kit or just the spacers?
We're trying to put a whole kit together because you've seen the Safari builds that we've done.
Yeah, those
So
things.
we're
look
gonna
dope.
put a whole package together so that you just one-stop shop and you're
Yeah,
not
really,
chasing
really,
parts.
just beautifully machined. You know, billet aluminum anodized pieces. We, had the TFC branding machined right into it. It looks really, really nice. So I'm pretty proud of those. Tim got that all orchestrated, and we got that happening. So that's pretty cool. So we've been doing a couple of those, putting a couple of our custom one-off bumpers that we've made, a tube bumper for the front, with all the big hella lights and all that stuff in it. So that's all happening.
I was just telling
I'm
Tim.
doing
Sorry,
a custom exhaust on one right now.
sorry for interrupting. I was just
Yeah.
telling Tim a few days ago, but the bumpers we actually got. I was checking Bring a Trailer because Core sells the Cayennes, the lifted Cayennes. But I saw a post on Bring a Trailer that was commenting on how amazing the bumpers looked compared to another competitor,
competitor.
Oh, yeah,
unnamed
really?
competitor.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very popular.
Everybody knows the
you
other
guys
one
probably
anyways,
know,
but-
who it is. But yeah, I was like, oh shoot, because, and they
That's
were
pretty
saying,
cool.
the
that's
TrickFactory
pretty
bumpers are amazing. Like, not to knock on the other ones, but like
Yeah.
they were pretty awesome. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad you said that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of the nature of how we approach most things. Is like we'll just try to do it better than what's available out there. So, It's just kind of
We're not smart
Part
enough
of
to
it.
know when to stop.
no. So maybe it's not the greatest business.
Just take it a little bit
but,
further. So
we feel we're proud of it though, so it looks good.
Yeah,
That's cool.
Sweet. And then what's been going on your end, Adam?
Since the last time I was just sleeping at the terminal, so I could actually get onto a BC
Yeah.
ferry.
Yeah.
Other than that, not too much.
Awesome. And the reason initially that you got here was, what do you want us done to your car?
I'm picking up my gurney flap.
Yes.
That's getting painted here. So,
Yeah, big carbon gurney flap for the back of your M3.
That thing.
dude, the car looks so weird without it now.
I bet.
I can't
bet.
imagine.
I just
Well,
have the
mean,
small
it's
one
like-
on.
Yeah,
and it just-
yeah. Well, I mean, this thing that we're painting for you is monstrous.
It's huge.
It's It's insane.
I think that's one of the things that sets the car apart too.
You must
It makes the
actually,
car.
You must actually notice a difference in the driving dynamics.
Oh yeah, my fuel mileage is a lot better this
I
week.
bet.
It's off.
I don't have a
That's
big air brake
amazing.
in the back.
No, yeah.
So
No, it's cool though. It's a pretty cool look, and it's carbon fiber,
yeah,
and we're doing red translucent like a candy
yeah.
on it to sort of like kind of color match it to
Color match to the car,
to your car. So,
but so it's still just carbon fiber still.
yeah.
But yes, we were talking about actually driving the cars. But even though we are saying, oh, you need to drive the cars, regardless of, like, first of all, why should people drive the cars? Because we have a lot of cars, and you have your Evo, your Mercedes, and the car was built in 2019, and it has not been driven. So for people that say, oh, you guys are not.
yeah, no, I'd say
So
like
why
you see
haven't
it in
you
the
driven it,
comments
Tim?
all the time.
Why
like
haven't you
we're
driven
literally the
it?
biggest hypocrites.
Yeah.
Because we do all the crazy shit, like all of it, but we just love building stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you get building stuff, but it's not smart. Like I'll tell you over and over again, it is not smart. And the reason that we do it is for a completely different reason than a normal person would do it. Like we're doing it
As a business.
As a business, we use it as a marketing
Yep.
tool.
It's advertising.
It's advertising. It's all these different things. So I have it here when customers come, and the reality is I just don't have time to drive it. Like we're too busy, and then we're always building shit. Like we have a building full of stuff that we're constantly building, and that's just the only reason. So when I'm saying these things, I'm trying to teach people to learn from my mistakes. Like honestly, and then now at this age, I'm sort of getting out of the building part of it, and now I want to start trying to enjoy these things. So it's like, yeah, I'm at a point now in my life where it's like it seems obvious, and then I'm seeing all these other people that are within my circle that are like, oh, we're going on a 4-day trip through here, we're going here and there, and you're like, man, I gotta start driving these things because they're money pits. Like for us, because we can extract value out of it in so many different ways, it makes sense. But if you're just doing it at home, you're gonna put you in the poorhouse, and it doesn't make sense. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And if we didn't get the help that we do from sponsors and all this type of stuff, it wouldn't be our reality either.
Yeah.
So like these kids that get all mad and it's like, oh, you got to build it, and it's like, man, there's two different. Like you got to drive it at some point. And how do you even know what you're building if you don't know if it drives good? Like most of the shit that I see that's built, there's no way it drives good. Like there's just no way. Like it's just not well thought out. And if you actually went out and tried to drive it, you would probably get better at building it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's very interesting.
put that as a hot take, and let's do it again. Let's really go to war.
Yeah. No, it is interesting too, because it's not just you that I feel like that has said this, because I was just watching. Did you guys remember that wide body GT86 that this guy Cam built for SEMA? 8-into-1 headers,
Yeah,
LS
yeah.
swapped, crazy car. But I was watching a video that he did, I'll say like a month ago, and he hasn't driven it almost at all. Because, I mean, he's been busy working and all that, but like even to get a tune in it, he hasn't gotten a tune in it. Like he drove it for a little bit and was like saying that he hasn't even had the time to drive it, or he hasn't driven it at all. And he built it over pretty much about over a year ago now.
That's the reality
Yeah.
of building stuff.
Yeah, because he
Is
said
it
it similar
takes
thing.
time.
Yeah, not just takes time, but
Takes
also
a lot of money.
Yeah.
Takes all, and then once you get to a certain level, you're not just taking it down the street to try
No.
to get some guy to put a tune in it. That's like it gets to a point where you're very protective of this thing.
yeah.
And if you've built something to the level that we have, I'm not just gonna go trash it for your entertainment. Like that's not it. It's like I'm even excited that I own it. Like I'm pumped. So the last thing I want to do is go hurt it.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what I'm saying. You get to a point sometimes where you can overbuild things and then you don't want to use them because you're scared to use them. And it's gotten too far gone that it's like, I don't think I can ever do this again, so I can't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Like if I thought no problem, I could just build this again, I was going to have the time and money to pull it off again, I'd probably be a lot crazier with it. But I honestly don't believe that I'm going to have the time or the resources or the money to pull off what I did that one time.
Yeah, that was a perfect storm.
Yeah, it was a perfect storm. Like the fact that my wife even let me do it, she's not letting me do it again. I can tell you that. Like I got my one shot, my one opportunity, and that's it. Like I don't think it's going to come around again.
But I think there's a difference between that and your normal build. Like yours, everything is a one-off custom, where other cars, here's a catalog. I want this body part and this body part and this body part. And you
And I think
simply order it.
That car is crazy, and that's where the hypocrisy side of it comes in, because I tell people, but that came at the expense of a lot of other things in my life. So then you get to a point where it's like, okay, was it really worth it? That definitely was worth it, because the way it impacted our business and everything else it is, but that's a very special thing. If I just dumped a bunch of money into some regular platform and I just kept, would you get the same value and response out of it that I did? I don't think you would.
No.
And I think there'd be a lot more regret where like, man, I put 60 G's into this thing and nobody cares.
Yeah, and see, and the thing is that we've said many times before, is like you need to know and decide what you're doing your build for. You knew what the build was for, what the intent of that build was for, and it was built as a marketing tool for our shop and the creative outlet of what it was, and it serves its purpose perfectly.
Plus
Just
there's
the way
spin-off
it is.
products. People want to buy the stuff that we made. So there's a lot of investment that turned into opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most people's investments, like we built everything. So that's where the value comes, because now people can only get it from us.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
But if you're putting this into any other platform and you're buying known
everything.
parts, people don't need to go through you. They can just go buy their own parts.
And build exactly the same
build
thing
exactly
that you
the
did.
same car.
And
So
it's
there's
not unique.
no opportunity there.
Yeah.
And there's always somebody that has more money than you and is probably going to do it before you.
Yes.
Plus, you're going to know pretty early on if what you're doing, if people can reference it and seen it before, it's never going to be special. So, like, some platforms and some things, it's like the shit that's truly special is the stuff that people haven't done before. You don't even necessarily need to spend a ton of money on it.
No,
But
it doesn't take a lot.
It doesn't take a
sometimes.
lot. Like, it just takes time and effort.
Yeah.
And it's, for us, at my point in my life, it's time is more, like, it's going to, like, valuable than money.
Yeah.
Because I can work and make money, but I can't make any more time.
No.
And that's the problem. So it's like, I got to be, focus my energies on things that are very specific and that bring me more opportunity than just like clout on the weekend. Like everything we do, we try to turn it into an opportunity.
Yeah.
Like if we make this nice enough, other people are going to want it.
You set the bar very high for the 190E crowd.
And also the values, I feel like, have gone up a bunch
I have
since
been
you built
blamed
yours.
for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's like a whole different conversation, but that's, kind of going off track. So
No, I still think it's on track, because it also falls to the part that we talked about, like being in the car community, building cars for so long, and you've learned things that you're trying to tell people or to show people, but for the most part, people are not really going to listen because
they're young, and when I
Yeah.
was that age, I did the same thing.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I couldn't think beyond tomorrow. Never mind. Whereas if I had been smarter and did some things at the front end instead of later, and that's just based on sheer determination, you could be so much further ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Like if you get your education, you learn how to build stuff properly, but everybody is so fixated on this trial and error, like I need to learn the hard way, is just you're putting yourself behind. And then getting married to a platform that you're just stuck in is like, there's so many awesome cars out there. So I just don't know why you'd want to do it to yourself. Like
Yeah.
it's crazy, but I don't know.
Yeah.
They're very, very passionate. Very,
very,
passionate
very
group.
passionate.
And it's all about the build. And I'm here building it all day, every day. And they tell me that I don't have the passion for it. But it's like, I feel like I'm behind because of mistakes that I made when I was young. Like, I think I should be building even crazier shit than I am now, but because I wasted so much time pissing around with stuff that really had no traction whatsoever. Like, sure, I enjoyed it and it was fun, but it was wasteful. A lot of it was wasteful. But whatever.
Yeah. And so with your 240Z that you're building, or it's almost like you went too far with it the other way. And
Well, that's definitely how it feels sometimes.
Yeah.
when I look at it and I reflect, I'm like, oh man, what did I do? Like, why did I do this to myself? But I probably wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest. If I really broke it down internally, for myself, I'm doing that for my reasons, and they might be contradictory to everybody else's reasoning, but I did what I did for me, and it's going to take me however long it takes for me to get there. But it's kind of like how Tim was describing the evil Evo. Like, he did that for his reasons, marketing, blah blah blah. Same thing. It's same for me. It's just a tool for me to learn how to do things better, to learn new skills.
Yeah.
And so the car is just sort of like my canvas in which to do that.
So it's not going to be, is that going to, in case you guys don't know, Rob is building a two frame chassis 240Z Datsun. That's going to be insane. We've made some progress on it, but it's on hold right now just because there's just a lot of other things going on, but you'll visit it soon.
Because these kinds of projects require like real focus and real attention and real investment in every way, financially, mentally.
I would say
everything
of education that it's forced is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I can attest to it because I see the guy every day. So the progression from the start of that project to now, based on the deep dives and trying to make, is crazy. It's not even the same.
Yeah.
Like, the education is so far much further advanced based on all the engineering. Like, why am I going to do this? And then it's like, oh shit, I got to look at this. And then it's like, you learn all those things. So by the time the actual hard execution comes, it's going to be a vastly different project than where it started.
Yeah, and so like the timeline on completion for a lot of things, like when you're deep diving into like learning new things, the timeline for completion tends to get pushed because like you don't just rush into something and then get down the road and realize you made some mistakes. Now you're going backwards, and so like Tim was saying, like time is worth a lot.
Yep.
Time is worth a lot to me too, and like. It's time and money and effort, that these are all limited things. Each and every one of us has to deal with that in whatever capacity that is for themselves. And like, I'm not willing to just, go freestyle and, into this. This is a real car, and like, it's going to be fucking dangerous when it's done. If I do it wrong, it could be fucking
lethal.
Seriously
but
bad.
The key is it's a real car, and it's going to be a real car.
Yeah.
Whereas all these other ones, it's like one of the biggest comments is like, if I had this much, this is what I'd do. But it's never going to get done. And that's the reality of it. Whereas
You
this
just
car is going to get finished. Like, those are all the someday I'll cars that never get built, or they get tore apart because they don't know what they're doing, or they break it, and they sit and they never get finished. And that's like the big, I've had like, I don't even know, a bunch of those cars. We've all had them because you get in over your heads because we don't know what the hell we're doing. And then you find out that it's too expensive. And it's like, I got in a conversation with a kid at Cars and Coffee. Like, I ended up going to one of these events, which I very rarely do. And it's like, by the time I was finished the conversation with this kid, because he's very much on par with like a lot of these kids that are calling me a fucking idiot. It's like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. It's about the build. It's all this type of shit. And it's like, yeah, it's about the build, but I can build it. You can't build it yet. So like, this kid's explaining to me what he wanted to do, and of course you're trying to take an interest, and it would happen to be a 190. So on the thing goes, but by the time he was done, he was psyched them out so bad, and by the time he was under the impression the car would be finished to what would be acceptable, this thing was going to be like a DTM car. It's like, oh, I got to do this, and I got to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And it's like, well, what are you going to do with this car? Well, I just want to drive it. Like, well, you don't need to do almost all of that shit. Like,
Yeah.
it's unnecessary. Like, you already have a great car. Just do a handful of things, and it'll be awesome. Like, you don't need to seam weld your body. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get a TIG welder to seam weld my body. I was like, oh, my God. Buddy, like, that's a whole nother thing. People go to school for a year to learn
much
how to do
social
that
media.
well. Too much social media. And it's like, you're going to strip your car down. 2 minutes ago, you're telling me you're concerned your muffler fell out of your car. And then now you're telling me that you're going to put coilovers and stitch weld it and build a cage. And it's like, you need to progress naturally and put time and effort into learning so that you can actually accomplish some of these things. But even still, is it going to be worth it? Like, why are you doing it? Like, for you, maybe if you're honest with your abilities and your situation, you're the guy that should go buy M3 and just enjoy your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what
Be
I mean?
like Adam and just drive your M3.
Yeah,
Yes.
just get something
No one
good.
can afford one now.
Man, there's that
Yeah,
reality.
actually, yeah. Going
True
back,
story.
going
Yeah.
back to you, like,
Yeah, like, how'd you get the car?
Um,
when did you get the car? How'd you get it?
so
And now,
again,
what sort of
So
got you
July-
down the road of where it is now?
E30 M3.
Yeah. July 22nd
Okay.
was 9 years.
Wow, that's
So,
awesome.
I've had it for a hot minute.
And so has this remained stock the entire time?
When I purchased it, it was bone stock. And in 17, well, prior to 17, I kind of modified it a bit. And then for like 2017, it got suspension, brakes, full color change. The interior constantly changes for seats every year, pretty much. Yeah, just little things just change every time.
So you ruined it.
I ruined it. I definitely ruined it. I
Okay.
lowered it. Yeah, I made it mine.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
How's the Beamer community feel about that?
They hate it. The purists hate it because it's. I think it's the only one on the island that is modified.
What are BMW purists like? Because I don't know if I've actually met.
We know what the Honda guys are like. They're extremely passionate. Are the BMW guys as passionate?
They're like the 1,000 horsepower Honda guys.
Because there seems to be two very distinct factions in these two particular brands. It's they're either the absolute best or they're complete trash.
Well, I do use my signal lights
So,
Oh wow.
sometimes.
like, I don't know how to, you know. And then the BMW guys feel the exact same way about the Honda guys.
I know, it's so interesting.
It's like
The purists, you can never improve anything.
Like right now, currently, I'm under the impression because of a previous podcast that the first time you drive your BMW, it's going to be the last time you drive your
It's
BMW.
gonna fall apart
'Cause it's just
instantly.
immediately going to blow up.
Rod bearings are
Rod bearings,
let
you
go.
name it. This whole thing's just completely
I've-
fucked the first time you start the car. You can't even drive it. There's no point in even buying one.
So-
I've definitely proven that like wrong.
So, how many kilometers have you put on your BMW, Adam? And have you ever done any of those maintenance items like rod bearings?
I've never had to do rod bearings
Okay,
yet.
so how many kilometers have you
What
put
does
on
it have
Adam?
now?
I think I've put about 52,000 K on it.
Pretty good.
So what does it have? How many kilometers or miles does your M3 have?
As it sits right now, it's sitting at 256 or 257,000.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very
This
nice.
is what, your 7th or 8th engine you've put in there?
It's still in engine number 1. It's on oil
Oh
pan
my
number
gosh.
2.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Oil
You-
pan
you
number
have,
2,
like-
engine number 1.
You have like a literal unicorn. We're in the presence of
I know.
greatness
I
right
know.
now.
Doesn't have a horn on the front, but
Holy.
pretty close.
Yeah, and again, if you don't know why we're just reacting like this, is, again, if you go check out our previous posts about this very thing of us talking about, because one of our previous podcasts was either spend $35,000 modifying a Honda or get a BMW M3 for that 35 grand, and people were very upset that how dare we say we should just buy the speed and buy the performance, like buy it straight out of the box as opposed
But
to building
you saw
it
in the comments
and blowing it up a few
that
times.
my argument every time to counter that was because they're like, build it, not bought, blah, blah, blah. I was like, what if you just enjoy to drive it? And that's your passion
Yeah,
is
yeah.
to drive. And they're like, I was like, all the best drivers in the world, every single one of them, not one of them is a mechanic. And then right away they're like, oh,
True, yeah.
shit. And then that was the end of the conversation every single time.
Yes.
So I was like, there's two different types of car enthusiasts. There's people that want to drive cars and people that want to work on cars. Traditionally, the people that work on the cars generally can't drive the cars. Like, it's just the way it is. It's true.
Yeah.
And if that's your thing, that's your thing. But I don't think they're near as horrible as people think they are. But so
For
clearly,
maintenance wise, it's definitely.
I think
If you want
gotta-
speed out of it, it's not like a DSM. It's not going to leave you on jack stands.
So has it left you stranded before or no?
Every time it's broken, I've been able to like get it home.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Other than the tow truck needing for the oil pan, it's always driven home under its own power.
So you just bottomed out and into an oil and destroyed the oil pan.
Kind of caught some air. I hit a section of road that was cut out that was unmarked, and I caught an oil pan on it. Ripped it off, and it happens.
Awesome.
Did you check the rod bearings through the hole?
It's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm just,
Yeah.
make the best of a bad situation.
And like again, you have used this car, so it's not
I
like
drive
you
it.
have driven the crap out of it, and you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you don't really care what happens to it,
When
So
I
what
was
do you
living in
do extra?
Saskatoon,
huh?
When I was living in Saskatoon, I actually drove it to an event in Calgary and in Edmonton, and the judges were just astonished that I drove it.
And if you don't know what those distances are like, if you're in another country, it's very, very, very far.
600K.
Yeah. Oh, that's
It's like
that is not too bad.
580K, I
Yeah.
think.
I mean, it's
That's
a,
not
it's a
too
good drive.
horrible.
Yeah.
I feel like it was going to be way worse.
Well, when you go back and forth, it's
Yeah,
over
I guess so.
1,000K.
But you've also taken that car to SEMA, right?
It saw a trailer on the way down there.
Why? Come on. You should have just driven it.
Wintertime.
Yeah. SEMA's
Send
in November,
it.
man.
You've never been in Montana and how they sand their roads. It's
Yeah.
literal gravel.
Rocks,
Yeah.
yeah. And like, so how did you even get it to SEMA? Like, what was that like?
It was a fun trip. We took 2 trucks, 2 trailers down because we had built 2 cars that year for SEMA. Yeah, it was a journey and a half. It was a good time. I think we had 8 people crammed into 2 vehicles. It was a good time.
And like, was it like? I mean, what was it like? Like, how was the car received? Because I know SEMA it's different from like your typical car show.
I don't know. I usually park it and I just walk away
I guess
from
so.
it.
What were you down there representing at SEMA? Did you go down there representing a shop that did the work, or were you sponsored by somebody that had some
Sponsored
parts
by-
put into your car or something like that?
Couple parts. It was just down there with a good friend,
Yeah.
Sean. You guys know Sean.
Yeah.
We went down there. Brakes were sponsored by Sparta.
Yeah.
Suspension was AST. Good friend Adam Derry, he painted it out of his shop. Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, again, your car looks. I feel like that, not just the gurney flap, but anything else, man, as gurney flap that you've done to it visibly, because it just, I don't know, maybe it's the color, but it just looks.
It looks
so
mean.
amazing. It looks so good because we just had it at the Driven Show a few months ago, and it stood out so much. Like like when it was because we all parked together, and so it was beside Tim's Mercedes Evo, and
I can never outshine this guy. His car is it's next level.
no, but it's still a different type of cool. It's still really cool. It was cool to see it, and you got an award for it, but it just looks glorious. It looks amazing.
Yeah, and
I
it
think
was
it's
really
the
cool to
color.
have
You're
the
just not-
E30 next to the 190 anyways, because they are
Historic.
Classic
historical
rivals.
Yeah.
Rivals.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's the whole reason
Same
both of them
result, though.
exist.
Mercedes wins every time.
And just so people know what the values are like. So again, I was saying on Bring a Trailer, we were checking it today. They go for like $60,000 US to $180,000 US for the
insane.
values. There were some that even sold. There was one I saw that sold for 250,000, but I'm not gonna count that one because that was like a little bit of an
Well, I think
outlier.
there's when we looked, there was a couple of evolutions on there.
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
a step above again.
Yeah. Which is blows my mind that those cars are. It's when you think about it, it's 197 horsepower, and it's
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
E30.
Yeah, I would
That
have
is-
to. I would have to say that the car, no offense, is very overrated.
Oh yeah.
But
For the price,
It's a-
Oh, you
heavily.
agree? You agree?
it's,
Heavily.
it's a great car. But like for that kind of dollar,
There's
no
so many
way,
better
man.
things you could buy.
No way.
I
So crazy.
if I
So you
But-
agree your E30 M3 is overrated?
for the price,
For
hell
that
yeah.
dollar value, if you'd have to be foolish not to agree,
Yeah.
right?
For what they're selling for right now, there's so many cooler cars that one could buy.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like if
But
I
that
was,
applies to pretty much all those cars of that era.
yeah,
Like you can pick any of them. So
Yeah.
that one probably has one of the craziest values without being like some weird low number, no kilometer car.
Blows my mind.
Like the
That just doesn't
E30
drop.
probably has the craziest value.
Yeah, that's
Because like
that's probably
even
pretty
battling
true.
with these Honda kids, like this Honda kid, this goes for this much, this goes for those are always outliers. It's like this 2,200 kilometer.
Yeah,
Like I don't even
pristine
know what
example.
a 2,200 kilometer M3 would go for.
Oh
It'd
my
be nuts
gosh,
because
yeah.
the ones that you're seeing that are like 75,
Mm-hmm,
80K US, they got miles on them. Not crazy miles.
Yeah.
They're
But they got
drivers.
50,000 miles, 60,000 miles on them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see that in like a 60,000 mile Honda Civic is not pulling 90 grand.
No.
There's no way. Like I don't care what they say. I'm ready to take the heat. Like unless it's something like it hasn't been driven or it's something super unique. But as the M3 as a whole, as a production run, the value is there in all
Yeah.
of them.
Mind blowing.
Like,
Even
it's
the
crazy.
Evolution, like the Evo 2, goes for more money than even that. Like those are the ones that are sitting at 180, 190, whatever. And
they're limited production
Why?
of 500.
Yeah, so
limited
the
production.
numbers were pretty low, right? It's pretty.
There's like, I think in total, call it 17,000.
Yeah.
For the entire production run,
that's still a lot of
including-
cars, though.
yeah, that's pretty wild.
That's a lot of cars.
And yours was like a really low number too, wasn't it?
So mine is a Canadian model, so
Yeah.
it was one of 188.
Yeah, so I mean that's crazy.
Yeah.
Did
Like-
the BMW have an Evolution 2 version?
Yeah, they
They
did.
did?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
did?
Those are the ones that go for higher prices
Yeah.
and stuff.
But
But,
they were
thought they
never
ended at the
offered in
Evo
North
1.
America. It was UK only.
Yeah.
yeah, so they're all imports for the most part.
Oh, man, the Euro's got all the good cars.
I know.
Always.
Oh, so cool.
Always.
yeah.
How much did you buy your M3 again?
When I purchased it 9 years ago, it was at the time 17,000 Canadian.
Yeah. I mean,
See,
wow.
and there's no investments in cars.
Wow.
Cars are at a loss. This guy just killed it. I got mutual funds that have made almost no money, and this guy's made 80K on his car in 9 years.
Yeah. And so, actually, talking about driving it again, did you ever think of going that far? Like what Tim was talking about, of like chopping the whole thing down and like making it tube frame, all of that stuff, and just going overboard? And why didn't you?
I was actually having this conversation with you earlier today. I can't bring myself to do it.
Really? Why?
See, it's
If I start modifying the body, I might as well just buy a normal E30.
oh.
Evo. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no point on bastardizing an M3. Like, yeah, I want to do a motor swap, but I don't ruin the chassis any. It's a direct swap.
Yeah. That makes sense now you mention it.
Like, to sit there and fuck with body panels and, I don't know, make the fenders wider than what they already are, I think it's just stupid. I might as well just do a basic car
Yeah. 325.
and build it that way.
yeah.
I think that's kind of what the M3 nostalgic for is, just its body lines. Like, it was a factory wide body car.
Yeah.
Like, it's a factory race car is what it was. And to ruin that body is just, I don't know, a bit sacrilegious.
Ah. I
So
see.
it's smart to just put that one aside. Get yourself as just a basic E30, and just get
Slap
Sass
1,500
Res-
horsepower.
wild. and do
I
like
can sit there and
Elvis
learn how to
just send
TIG
it.
weld.
Yeah.
Are you going to do that, or you don't
No.
have any interest in the mechanical stuff?
I've owned enough E30s. I have no intention in building another one.
Yeah, you're kind of deep into E30s right now, aren't you?
Couple.
Yeah.
49.
Kind of sounds like it's a thing.
49
49.
E30s. That's how much you've owned.
Yeah.
That's a
That's-
sickness. That's not good.
The M3 was number 30.
That's not good.
So why would you marry yourself to such an unreliable platform?
Yeah, come on. What are you doing?
Well, I had
Makes
to
no
buy
sense.
so many to fix them
That's
all.
that's how many. That's how many you had to have to
Yeah.
keep one on the road.
It must be it.
That's pretty much what had happened.
Yeah.
So maybe these Honda guys aren't wrong.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Oh, that's so funny. Wow.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, drive your cars.
Yes, drive
Some
your
people
cars.
like to
Drive
drive
'em.
them. Not everybody wants to build them all the time.
Yes, I don't have any very rare cars,
I
but
don't have any cars that drive.
me, I
He drives his 240, doesn't
Oh
he?
my gosh. I have my 280 ZX.
Same.
And yeah. And
Not
it's a
the
little bit
same,
different.
Adam.
No, Rob is very, whoa. Rob is very passionate about this topic.
A 240Z is not the same as a 280ZX.
It is still a Z car, a Datsun
It
Z
is
car.
not.
So an S30.
It's a Z car.
It's like Datsun
280
Nissan.
ZX, man.
It's no,
It
but
is
it's
not
still
the
a
same.
Z car. It's in this
You
generation.
have a ZX?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's different.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's not
okay,
the same.
this
That's
is the same. Let us know what you think in the comments. But my point was that I have my ZX it has 200. It had before the speedometer broke. It had about 230 something thousand miles on it, and now it's been broken for like 2 or 3 years. So.
And you've driven across the country.
Yeah,
I've driven
across America.
a couple of times. Same engine, stock. I mean, the body is a wide body, and it looks
That's what
crazy.
broke it.
But it's slow, and it hasn't broken. It still drives everywhere. It hasn't left me. It's left me stranded once when the wheel almost fell off. But
Other than that,
mechanically, it has not failed me at all. I've driven it cross country multiple times in the States. Drove it to Canada, and it's still fine. So. It's not a collector car, but I still drive it as much as possible, and I don't really care about values. And I feel like even if I owned a Lamborghini Miura, which is a very rare car on its own, I feel like I would still extract every ounce of drivability from it because I bought the car, it's mine, and so why would I save it for the next guy? So what do you guys think about that?
I think it's a really good question. I'm with you, Elvis.
Yeah. So
I enjoy it.
I think
Yeah.
you should drive your cars. They were
Yes.
built for a reason.
yeah, I know.
I think they get funner the more you drive them.
Oh yeah.
They
'Cause
really
once they
do.
get a little bit, like you get that first rock chip and the scratch. Like
It's
I'd
like,
say that
oh,
probably
you
the
just
worst
don't
time to
care
own
anymore.
a car is the first month you own it. If you buy it brand new,
It's
Yeah.
perfect.
yeah,
mint.
and then you get that first scratch and it just ruins like you have a 4-day stretch of just depression. You're like,
Yeah.
And then after that, you
and
just
then a
like,
shift. And
let's
then a
send it.
shift in mentality. Like, you know what? She's a
drive
driver
it.
now.
Yeah.
Then you just send it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Then you just enjoy it. And then you can, you learn to understand the characteristics of the car and you get to just enjoy it.
Well, look how many customers I tell during the week, like, you got to drive your car.
Yes.
Like, go drive your car.
Yes.
But we get people that get stuck up in doing, like, they love the process too. And so they're constantly bringing, like, we have, like, it seems like the same 12 customers that are constantly doing the same stuff.
Like,
but
ooh,
they're
I want to
doing-
add this. I want to
Yeah,
add
and
that.
you're like, man, just go drive your car and come back in the fall. So it's like there is two very different, but those same people make it seem like they got lots of driving to do every weekend. So
Yeah.
they always need it back.
I need to buy this.
I need to buy Friday. I got a show I got to do. But they don't. It's like, yeah, some people, even though they can't do it themselves, they still love that process of building it.
I definitely get that because it's almost like a journey. Like whenever I'm going on a trip or a road trip or whatever to somewhere, we have a destination. But the journey along the way, for me at least, is almost more fun than arriving there because you have all these
is.
expectations, you have all these things that you need to make, all these changes you need to do, all these stops you have to do.
Yeah.
And then when you get there and it's like, okay, you're there. And
Yeah. I mean, that's the story, right? That's
Yeah.
the story of life
Right.
is the journey, right?
yeah.
The build, the journey, the drive.
I think that whole thing has changed because literally 15 minutes or whenever, right before this podcast, our customer was telling me that he's about to go on like a 4-day road trip in his Performante. And even I was like, you're going to drive it? What do you mean, are you
Sick.
I wasn't shocked that he was going to drive it, but I was just like, oh shit, you're going to put miles on that car? That's crazy. But that's such a random thing to think about. Like that's like on the other side of not owning that car, all I want to do is drive the shit out of that car.
Yeah.
But the idea of actually owning it and then I can't drive this car.
Yeah, worrying
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
miles.
it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's
What
such
stories do you get from it just sitting in a garage?
It's so
I know.
crazy. So
Yeah.
I'm even guilty of it.
might as well leave your
you're
family at
crazy,
home and
man.
go on
You
vacation
shouldn't drive that
solo.
car. It's worth $500,000. Like, are you nuts?
Yeah.
Nah, I would send it. And maybe if I was in a different situation where I could afford this car, I might be saying something different. But for now that I don't own a Performante,
I don't know if you can actually
feel
afford
the
it
same.
if you can't afford to drive it.
You shouldn't have one.
Yeah.
No.
If you can't afford it.
Like, I think you should be able to drive it down to like nothing,
Yeah, drive it until
Which-
the wheels fall off.
which is not smart, but maybe the lesson in that is get more money than you need to buy the car so that you can actually enjoy the car.
Yeah.
And
So-
not worry about it.
So stop spending $500 every week on
Your
your.
Honda Civic. Save your money. Invest it in some other things, and then later in life you can get the really good things.
And again, I'm also guilty of this too.
We're all
because
guilty of it.
I spend money. I'm like, oh, I was just telling you about getting a Corvette subframe for my Datsun.
Yeah, what did I tell you?
Not to do it.
Don't
Yeah,
do it
don't
until
do
you
it.
need it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not until I need it because again, I still have more cars.
Yeah, finish your other
That I'm
car.
doing, yeah.
Sell that car, then buy the subframe for your other car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say to everybody. Just be smart. Not don't do it. Just be as
One
smart as
project
you
at a time.
can as you about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Anything else?
this thing's gonna get like 50 views. 'cause
I know.
it makes too much sense.
It makes too much sense.
I didn't hurt anybody's feelings.
Nah, we've been contradictory a little bit. So
It'll get
we'll see
lots
what
of
happens.
views, no comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get no comments because everybody like,
Yeah, you guys are right. So,
Nah,
yes.
somebody out there is gonna be like, screw you guys.
Oh, for sure.
no, it's gonna go all the way
100%.
the other way.
You cannot
because when we
please
did the
everybody.
BMW one, BMWs were the best possible cars on the planet, and they're absolutely unbreakable.
Yeah.
900 wheel horsepower all day long. Then we do the Civic one and say BMWs are better, and BMWs you can't even get out of the driveway.
Yeah.
So it's like no matter what we say,
You can't win,
We're gonna
so
get some heat.
it'll be fine. Awesome. If you like this video or podcast, give it a thumbs up. Give it 5 stars on all the podcast platforms that are out there: Apple Podcast, Spotify, etc. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Later.